Yankees universe. Welcome back to another episode of the Yankees Morning Brew on this Thursday, March 14th. Like always, I'm your guy Hector, hanging out with my compañero, my guy with the hoodie, Mr. TC Stills. TC, how you doing this morning?
Ooh, I don't know. Mixed emotions with the news that came out. So okay. I'm feeling good. I know Gerrit Cole's not, but you know, how you doing?
I'm doing good, man. That's why we're here to have this conversation. And we had to reach out to a special guest of ours. We had him on last year when Aaron Judge got injured. Very, very knowledgeable, insightful individual. So I'm going to bring up Dr. Jesse Morse right now. Doc, just give me a thumbs up. Let me know if you're ready to rock, and I'll bring you right up to the panel. We got the thummy wubby. Let's bring up the doc right now. Mr. Jesse Morse. Doc, how you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you guys?
How good, doing, brother. Jesse? Good. Thank you for taking time this morning. Like I was telling the folks, we had you on last year, and I promise you, right, we're not just going to have you on when someone gets injured, you know, because you're very knowledgeable when it comes to the sport. Yeah. But initially, let's just start off with it, because I've seen your tweets. You was putting out some tweets yesterday, your thoughts on the Gerrit Cole situation. But when the injury first presented itself, what was the first thing that ran to your head, Doc?
Well, Cole's been able to throw a lot of volume and stay healthy. You know, we don't see that with a lot of the pitchers, unfortunately. You know, it's very hard to accumulate innings in modern baseball. You know, we don't have your Randy Johnsons and your, you know, Bartolo Colognes and the guys that just eat innings and you don't really worry about them getting injured per se. If you look at the you know, total wins accumulation, there's not that many that are at the top that are still active, you know, in terms of the current actors. Verlander, but he just had a massive injury. He's coming back from that, you know. And then Cole's what, 4th, 5th, somewhere in there. He's in the top 5 of active guys. Greinke's is still in there, but it'll be interesting to see how this plays out.
Yeah, no, definitely. When it comes to the injury, I know Yankee fans, you know, I'm down here still in Tampa covering the Yankees for spring training. It felt like Yankee fans were at a funeral, seeing how Yankee fans were the day that the news came out. Doc, I'll throw it over to TC to get his insight on this. But folks in the chat, if you have any questions specifically for the doctor, please let us know. Drop it down. We'll try to get to as many of them as possible. Go ahead, TC.
Yeah, you know, I mean, the excitement with getting Soto, and you know, we were all hyped up, but in the back of, I think, all of our minds were like, we got to stay healthy. And we even mentioned it on the show. The worst fear is if Gerrit Cole or Aaron Judge got hurt. And unfortunately, Gerrit Cole got hurt.
And Judge stayed up too.
Judge has an abdominal, something with his abdominal, but he says he's good. So we hope he's penciled in and ready to go for this to start a season, because we can't be without both of those guys to start the season. And you know, other guys have to step up. It's, you know, next man up mentality. You know, we got some pitchers that we've looked at, you know, with Will Warren, Clayton Beeter, Luis Heel, even Luke Weaver. So these guys got to step up, and you know, the offense is going to have to carry us for the first couple months. And but I'm not losing faith. I'm a little, I'm not panicked, but you know, it's a little concerning to start the season.
No, I'm right there with you, TC, and I'll throw it over to the doc to get his point. Go ahead, Doc.
So Cole was one of those guys you didn't really worry about. Just kind of set and forget it.
We never had to.
That staple, right? So now we're starting to see a little kink in the armor. You know, they gave us some insight. I got a couple piecework yesterday.
Yeah.
Sounds like Brian Hodge released some more info last night. It sounds like between an MRI and a CT and an X-ray, they determined what was likely going on. I'm a little surprised, or maybe they just didn't announce it, that he didn't have an ultrasound as well. But Dr. Ahmad, who usually does, you all's everything for your medical stuff, he is very capable. So I don't know if it was Cole wanting a second opinion, if it was a team, if it was just due diligence. But sending him out to Ella Trash in LA, he pretty much wants to see everyone in person, so that's why he's able to do that. And this isn't a guy that makes $500,000. This is a guy that makes a lot of money, and he has a lot of potential impact one way or the other. So you have to make sure you get this decision right the first time. Cole hasn't had a lot of arm injuries, if my memory serves me correctly. So, and it's almost a given that most guys are going to have some type of elbow or shoulder issue as a pitcher. It's just the nature of the game. Unfortunately, it's not a common physical ailment that you can avoid when you throw the velocity that you do, the movement that you do, and the amount of time that these guys do it.
Yeah, the torque.
But from what we understand, there's not a significant injury to the UCL. There's a couple different bundles within the UCL. There's the anterior bundle, there's the posterior bundle, and really depending on where the injury is and what the severity of it is, he's going to have some wear and tear in that UCL. That's a given. Yeah. Just the nature of pitching requires that. You can't pitch without a UCL, unfortunately. Now, the flexor muscles, which are these right here in the forearm, also play a very significant role. And if we have a strain in those, you can translate that energy to UCL and tear it. So a lot of the times, if someone has some issues with their forearm, they will shut them down to prevent that from affecting the actual UCL. So there may be a little bit of part of that too. A lot of the times, I don't like to tell you the whole story. The question becomes, at what point or where are they at with this UCL? Is there a partial tear? Is there any bone spurs that are affecting UCL? If there's an injury, where is the ligament most beat up? Is it anteriorly towards the front or posterior towards the back? If you have a choice, you'd have it anteriorly because they have a tendency to do better with your regenerative stuff, your PRP, your stem cells. The posterior stuff they usually struggle with the temporary, the conservative stuff, and unfortunately that's where your Tommy Johns and your primary repairs come in. Now we saw Giolito for the Red Sox the other day end up obviously needing surgery. He thankfully avoided Tommy John again, but he did need a primary repair and will end his 24 season. We don't know what El Trash is going to say. We don't know if he's going to say, hey, we need surgery, or no, shut him down. We'll do some, PRP stem cells and stabilize that shoulder and then have him come back in 6, 8, 10 weeks, whatever they decide. Is it out of the realm of possibility that he needs surgery? I don't think you can say it's not within the realm, unfortunately, given the nature of the game, given the nature of pretty much every pitcher has had some form of elbow injury. And just regardless of how good they are, Ohtani, Verlander, it doesn't really matter. Scherzer's had his stuff. DeGrom has had his stuff. So it's just the nature of the beast. Cole's been able to avoid it for a long period of time. So, maybe you're on borrowed time right now. So I was a little surprised they didn't go after C's or as aggressive as they probably should have been. We saw what he went for yesterday, and some people say it was a fleecing, and some people say it was an appropriate price. I don't know. But nonetheless, now, do they go after Snell? I don't know. I don't know if that is it a financial thing? Shouldn't be, but is it? Do they just don't like his build and his makeup, and is it just too risky for him? You deal with a similar situation 6 months down the road or a year down the road, and now you're in a predicament like the Red Sox are with Giolito. So do they just depend on their bullpen and their innings guys, their depth in AAA, and just hope that they can hold it off and the bats dominate? Maybe that's their goal.
Yeah. First of all, Doc, very knowledgeable insights right there. Folks in the chat, we got over 90 people in the building rocking with us right now. If you guys can, please smack that like button for your boys. I just want to bring up something because you put out a thread yesterday on X or Twitter, whatever it's called nowadays, breaking down from like best case scenario to mid scenario to the worst case scenario. So I have them all three here on the screen. I'll just throw it over to you to get your take when it comes to best case, middle case, and worst case scenario, because a lot of Yankee fans, we're going through it right now, and then we'll get to the questions that are in the chat. I got a couple of people backstage that I want to bring up one by one to ask you a question as well, Doc, just to let you know. I got one guy, NFE, backstage. So yesterday, I just want to start with your tweet right here and just break it down for the folks in the chat when it comes to worst case, middle case, and best case scenario for Mr. Gerrit Cole.
Yeah. So, one of the things that I like to do, and I did another one this morning for Devin Williams' back injury, I try to break down what the information we know, what information is not written, but maybe I translate it in my head based on what I know and how I read it, and then try to give you a rough timeline of the different possibilities. Obviously, it really just depends on severity and what the surgeon decides. So best case scenario, his ligaments intact. He doesn't have any significant issues. He has some wear and tear. There's maybe a little bit of inflammation of the flexor tendons of the forearm, and they probably shut him down and ramp him back up in maybe a month or 6 weeks or something like that. That would be, in my opinion, best case scenario. I don't think him coming back next week or the week after is realistic. And I don't think it should be because it's too risky, right? You may get a couple of weeks out of him, but then you may lose him for, half a season, which is counterproductive. While you ideally want him available the whole season, you'd probably want him in September versus April if you had a choice, right? Second level would be obviously more concerning. Maybe he has some bone spurs that are causing some issues. Maybe he has a little partial tear or some fraying in the anterior bundle where it needs some help, but it doesn't need a full repair. And a lot of the times you really have to stress this with an exam. Sometimes you're doing different things to see how it reacts under exam. So you can't really, imaging isn't always perfect for these, similar to every body part. It's a tool, but it's not the ultimate. A lot of the times it's feel, it's just gut, it's experience. It's hey, often when I see this and feel this is what it ends up being, type of thing. And you'll never really be able to appreciate it until you open it up, unfortunately. And that's not always ideal, but unfortunately sometimes that's the only way you're really going to get a good feeling of what's going on in there. Is there an issue with the nerve? The ulnar nerve runs right by it. Is there an issue that's the nerves bothering him, causing some pain in that area, which is causing him to not be able to throw effectively? And a lot of times when guys do Tommy John, they'll move that nerve to a different spot so it doesn't bother them anymore. How we were built naturally, unfortunately, it's just great. It's very close to it. The worst case scenario hopefully doesn't happen, but obviously it bears at least discussing. You have either a full thickness or a partial thickness tear in a bad spot on the ligament, and you have to unfortunately repair it, whether it's a primary repair or a Tommy John. So that obviously would change. This is early in the season, so if it's primary repair, he would probably be able to make it back for 25 early, which is what Giolito is basically projecting. That's what he had. If it's Tommy John, then it's a different story. They have a tendency to miss a year and a half, depending on the timing of it. And at the end of the year, they end up being almost 2 years, whereas at the beginning of the year, they have a tendency to go more year and a half, kind of all-star breakish.
Copy.
Obviously, you all don't want to hear that, and we don't have any reason to believe that's what it is. But yeah, obviously that's in the realm of possibilities right now.
But for everybody that's in the chat, like Doc said, none of this, the Yankees haven't come out officially and said. The Doc is just giving his expert opinion and just laying out the different tiers when it comes to worst case, middle case, and best case scenario. But Doc, a lot of these injuries, they've been presenting themselves a lot and very rapidly over the past 20 years when it comes to Major League pitching. I'm not sure what it is, if it's the diets or if it's the new workouts. What do you think it is? And if there's any parents that are out there that have young kids, what course should they avoid so these injuries don't happen in the future? What do you think this is, Doc?
Yeah, I think it's a combination of things. I mean, I don't specialize in baseball per se, so I'm not. I don't only see baseball injuries. I see my fair share, but I think there's a combination of throwing younger. I live in Miami, so the kids around here that are good, they're on 3-4 teams. They pitch all year round. Your ligament cannot handle at 12 years old throwing 10 11 months a year. Like, that's not healthy. Pick another damn sport for 5-6 months. Give that elbow a break. Then the problem is, a lot of these guys are pitching garbage, eating garbage. All this inflammatory diets, and that's a separate discussion. A very, very important one though. And then a lot of these guys, they're not. They need to build up their lower halves appropriately, and everybody wants to throw 105. And if you think about it, guys 10, 20, 30 years ago, they didn't throw that. That was not normal. And this ligament cannot handle that volume. It's not meant to handle that volume, and it's not meant to handle that velocity. Guys, young kids throwing a curve or any breaking pitches before 13, you're stressing that ligament earlier than it should be stressed. This is not a natural motion. So unfortunately, you're asking your body to do something that it's not really naturally supposed to be able to do. So if you're lucky and you have 5-6 years without an injury, that's abnormal. Unfortunately, because of how stressful the ligaments take when you do pitch, especially with all these curves and breaking and intense situations. That type of stuff. So I think the weighted balls, whether it's good or bad, I don't know that. I don't know what the data shows for that, but I think that may play a role in it. I think they did that a lot more. I think a lot of the PRPs and stem cell stuff has probably been helpful though. I mean, they didn't have that 30, 40 years ago. Really, we came out with that in the late 90s and really pushed it in the early 2000s. So they really didn't have that back in the 80s and 90s. So that's not an option that they had, but they also didn't have the same velocity issues and whatnot. They threw a lot more innings, but they didn't throw the same velocity. And the other thing, and Will Middlebrooks actually asked me this yesterday on Twitter. He said, do you think the lack or not being able to use any of the sticky substances that play a role? And I don't know. I think it's a great question. Because if you think about it, if you don't have the stickiness of the hand, you have to grip the ball a lot harder, which puts things under a lot more tension. Right? If you're doing it once, it's not a big deal, but you're throwing 100+ pitches, at least once a week, if not, several sessions in between. There's a lot of stress that happens in that tissue, and it's very difficult to get that to go back down to zero before you pitch again. So I understand that it was counterproductive and maybe a little bit risky, but at the same time, is it leading to more injuries by not having it being available?
And you bring up the point that 20 years, like growing up when I was watching baseball, and like 20, 30 years ago, most teams didn't have guys coming out of the bullpen or starting pitchers throwing 98, 99, or 100 miles per hour. That was a novelty act. But now when you look at Major League Baseball, it's like every team at least has one or two guys that could come out of the bullpen and throw gas at 98, 99 miles per hour. But they're having these surgeries early on in their career and not later on like it once was happening. Like you said, Doc, this is not a natural motion. Right, this you throwing your arm like that and ripping it back and forth, that's not a natural motion, right? So when you have these injuries that just present themselves and they start at a very young age, you see guys in high school now, and when you're scouting players, you're asking yourself, did they already have Tommy John, or will they have Tommy John in 5 years? And if the kid already had Tommy John, you're most likely going to take him because he's more of a risk factor if he didn't have it at the time coming out of high school or coming out of college. And when you have a lot of these coaches that, if you're a player, right, I'm gonna ask you, pretend like put yourself in the shoes of a player. You got a coach that's coming up to you. He got two careers he could present to you. One, you could throw 98, 99, 100 miles per hour. You could be a first-round pick in the draft or a top pick in the draft. Or you could throw 92, 93 miles per hour, have yourself a solid career, but you're going to be picked third, fourth, or fifth round in the draft. You're going to want to go in that first round and get that high money. And that's what a lot of kids are aiming for nowadays. And it's just the pitching market is just so thin with all these injuries that are presenting themselves.
And I asked, and one of my things in my head is it's not if, it's when. Unfortunately, it's when. I mean, I use Giolito for an example because I just happen to know his history. He had Tommy John in 2011. He made it 13 years. You know, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I took care of Shane McClanahan, that the kid from the Rays. When I was in fellowship, he was coming off his first Tommy John, and that was in 2017. He just had no.
Yeah.
And that kid is disgusting. Like, his stuff is unhittable.
Yeah.
But look, he needs 2 Tommy Johns in what, 7 years, 6 years? I mean, so that's, you know, some of it may be mechanics, some of it may be genetics, you know, body habits, you know, style of pitching. I'm sure there's a lot of variables.
Yeah, but I just want to ask real quick, Doc, just because it's 11:20, want to respect your time. Are we okay to rock for the next like 5-10 minutes? Is that cool till 11:30?
Yeah, I got about 10 minutes.
Copy. Just want to respect your time like always. And again, appreciate you, Doc, for taking time this morning. Just know, folks, for this season coming up, Dr. Jesse Morris, we're going to be reaching out to him to cover the Yankees injuries, if any injuries present themselves, as long as he's free in the morning to join us as well. So I got some question, one from the chat from Grace Monroe, who says, my question to Dr. Jesse Morris is, if there is no tear, is Tommy John off the table when it comes to that? What's your thoughts real quick?
I think realistically they would only do it if there's a significant tear that is not, and the elbow is not stable.
Okay.
I think they would really only do it if that's their only option, because we know how long that recovery is. You know, how you know, just it's a 12 to 15 month recovery, if assuming everything goes perfect. I would say, I wouldn't say surgery's off the table, but I would say Tommy John's off the table. You know, if there's an issue, if there's a bone spur or something, they may consider having to go in and clean that out. So that's surgery, but it's not, you know, a full reconstruction.
Copy. I got another question in the chat. My guy Chris N said, can you do an elbow transplant surgery? He said, can I lend Gerrit Cole my elbow for this season?
It's a great question. Unfortunately, I don't think your elbow is going to be able to handle the stress that they're going to ask of it. It's probably going to, you know, I've had people say, hey, take my meniscus, take my ACL, whatever. Unfortunately, it doesn't work like that. I will say this: I'd rather have it be an elbow than a shoulder. I know it sounds stupid, but shoulders in pitchers, never the same. Never. The same.
Johan Santana is the perfect example of that. I think it was the shoulder cap or whatever it was. That shoulder injury totally ruined his career. I'm gonna bring up a guy that got backstage, NFE. He's another Yankee content creator real quick. So I'm gonna bring him up real quick. Hold on 1 second. I just gotta change the layout. There's my guy NFE in the building. NFE. Here you are, my guy. I'll throw it over to you. What's your question for the doc, brother?
What's going on, gentlemen and doctor? Thanks for jumping on. So here's a question. As far as, you know, medical innovations, because there's always some innovative stuff going on with medical, will there ever be a time where if a player gets Tommy John surgery that they don't have to miss as much time? Can you see something like that happening?
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. I think it's a good question. I think Tommy John has become ubiquitous, but at the same time, it's not a career ending like it used to be, right? A lot of guys, they're like, hey, you know, we don't know if he's coming back. It's kind of like an ACL in football, or in general, really. You don't know, you know, it's annoying and frustrating, and you're probably going to miss a year, but it's not the end of the career. Well, I think the issue with timing is the amount of time it takes for that graft to integrate into the bone, and then the ability to stress it, and you have to load it up over time. That's part of the issue. I approach things a little differently than I'm not a surgeon, but I approach things differently than a lot of the regular docs. I actually don't inject just one injury. I inject the whole joint. So I look at an injury as almost like a car rim with 8 lug nuts, and the main lug nut may say is broken. Traditionally, the other 7 are loose or contributing to that one breaking. Now, most people only address the one that's broken and hope physical therapy addresses the rest. I inject all 8 because I feel like if you don't address it, eventually those other ones are going to contribute to a new injury. Not a common approach. I do it for, you name the body part, that's how we do it. But it's very effective. I think that may be an option because you're strengthening the tendons that attach the forearm to the, you know, to the distal forearm to the rest of the arm. You may be stabilizing the triceps and some of the other parts that are probably beat up, are probably worn, and then you can reset and kind of stabilize everything. So I think yes, you maybe had to shave it down a little bit, but I think under like 6 months or 9 months is probably unrealistic. The pivot is just to the primary repair, where they basically don't have to do a full reconstruction, and they just do kind of a partial. And instead of missing a year and a half, some guys, depending on when they have it, may miss 9 to 12 months. So I think that's probably the easiest way to answer the question.
For sure.
That's a great question, NFE. I want to throw it over to TC to get his take real quick, and throw it back over to Doc because we have him for 5 more minutes. I just want to get him a quick take when it comes to Judge. Go ahead, TC.
Well, I just want a quick question for the doctor about Cole. What is the most effective treatment for this, and is it just rest, or is there something they can do, injections? And is this similar to what Masahiro Tanaka was going through years ago?
So it's a good question. Tanaka is one of those abnormalities that kind of like a Price, that we don't know why he kind of healed and was able to do what he could do. It was just kind of like he had a unique elbow where it just kind of, he could tolerate it. The way he pitched, he could get away with having a partial tear or whatever, however they described it. It really depends on what the exact injury is. Where's the damage? What's causing the issue? Is it a bone spur? Is it a partial tear? Is it just a beat up ligament in general? There's no really good part of it. Think of it as a rope. Does it have a partial tear where that rope attaches to the dock over here, or bone? Is there a partial tear where it attaches on the other side, the back side, or is it just frayed altogether? Think of you trying to sew paper mache. It just doesn't happen. That's kind of that's how I correlate with the labrum in the shoulder and the hip. So a lot of the times it really just depends on what the quality of the tissue is. Can it handle the stress of what you're asking it to do 100 times and then 5 days later do it again? And then for my opinion, these guys are worth so much money that 20-30 grand is a moot point for these guys, right? It just doesn't really matter. That's the type of stuff that I do. That's my specialty, PRP or stem cell lines. In my opinion, I want to stabilize and strengthen every tissue I possibly can that is correlated with that motion. So if it's shoulder, whether it's elbow, whether it's forearm, whatever it is. While he's shut down, why would you not strengthen these other areas? He's already going to be rehabbing. It's not like you're going to add more rehab to him. So that's not a traditional mindset, but in my head, it makes sense. Ideally, you do this in October, or November, or whenever you're just done playing, so that you have the off season. But unfortunately, we don't. That's not the case we have here. So you got to do what you have to do. I really think I think it depends on how aggressive they want to be, and getting as healthy as he can possibly be, but not missing. Trying not to miss as much time as you can. So it's kind of a happy medium.
Yeah, I want to ask you real quick. Last question too. You could would let you go after this. A lot of Yankee fans been upset because it seems like when it comes to the reporting of these injuries, the Yankees have been very vague, hiding behind the curtains. A lot of smokes and mirror. You, as a medical expert, you've worked with different teams. How is that process? You, as a doctor, you report your finding, you report it to the team, and then the team puts something out, and you're like, "Wait, I didn't say that. I said it was something different." What do you think of that, Doc? Before we let you go.
Yeah, I mean, I cover a lot of NFL, and NFL does a much better job now than they used to with covering injuries. Kind of like how MLB is now is how NFL used to be 5 years ago or something. But now the NFL, they'll literally tell you which surgeon did it, what the exact injury was. When they had the surgery, they're very specific. Not all the time, but a lot of the times. They don't have to say any of that. None of that has to be said. That's a courtesy. And for me, it's very helpful because I what I call read between the lines. I can kind of decipher what things mean based on how they say them, knowing what I know. But realistically, the more information they give, the more that's going to impact betting. Other teams. It's so many different things. So a lot of times I try to keep things close to the vest. When when I was in fellowship, I worked with I was in Tampa. I worked for the Blue Jays and the Phillies, and then I did a little bit of work with the Marlins after I was done, formally. And the traditional would be, well, it depends on where the player is. Is he with the big club or is he with the minors? And then one of the surgeons would stop by, or non-surgicals like me would stop by, evaluate, and depending on what they felt, they'll get imaging. And then that imaging would then get bounced to either the head team doc or a combination of team docs. And then if they needed to see a specialist, they would then coordinate that, like Elatrash here. And then at that point, these guys are under so much cameras that they know if they're not there. Whereas in the off season, you don't know anything. They could be doing anything, you wouldn't know where they are. So the only reason we know is because he's not there. Like, why is he not there? So they basically, he's dealing with something, because they have to hold that. The fan base has to should hold them accountable. They've been better. I don't think they don't think they need to be super specific. For me, I like it. I find it fascinating, and it helps me give more information. But in general, most people just want timelines and generalizations. But so that's kind of the way I look at it.
Yeah, no, Doc, and again, appreciate you for taking time out this morning. One of the guys that we work with over here on the Morning Brew Sports, he is one of the overnight and weekend hosts at WFAN. I'm going to connect you guys via X or Twitter. That way he can have you on as a guest as well if you're free over the weekend to join him on WFAN over the phone. So I'll connect you guys behind the scenes to get that, because I think your voice, you're very knowledgeable, Doc, and I think a lot of baseball fans should hear what you have to say. So I'm going to make that connection behind the scenes, and hopefully you guys could get something working, and you could talk with him over there on the fan.
I'd be happy to help. Best of luck.
Jess, appreciate you, Doc. And again, we'll be tapping in with you this season, brother. Thank you so much this morning.
You're welcome. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you. That was our guy, Dr. Jesse Morse, MD, sports medicine specialist. That was a good conversation. I ain't gonna lie.
Yes.
NFP, great question as well, bro. I definitely appreciate that. And for those of you guys in the chat, I'm sorry if I wasn't able to get to every question, but we will work on getting Dr. Jesse Morse up here more frequently to talk about any Yankees injuries, anything like that. I see we got Damien backstage. Let me bring up my guy Damien real quick. Mr. Damien Serrano. Salute. Before we throw it over to Damien, I got to shout out Uncle Tats with the $9.99 super chat. Thank you for helping us keep the lights on, Uncle Chats. He said, how much does the pitch clock have an effect on these pitchers? It's rushing them to throw, causing more injuries and more damage. We saw the perfect example of that with Alex Manoah. Alex Manoah from the Toronto Blue Jays, I think he's been affected the most by the pitch clock, because he's a guy that he utilized his body in order to throw that fastball at 96, 97 miles per hour. Now that he doesn't have that much time to gather up and rev it up, I think he's been affected mostly by that pitch clock. But I want to throw that question around. I throw it over to you, Damien. How you feeling this morning, Fly Guy?
Hey, good morning, everybody. TC. Of course, NFP, Hector, my guy. What's going on, man? First and foremost, I just want to tell everybody, I got to meet Hector, and for anybody who ever thought this guy is genuine or not, this guy is 1000% genuine. Hector, who he is on the show, is Hector, who he is on the street. So, I just want to send you love, brother. Just want to let you know that. Going to the pitch clock, absolutely, that was my first concern when it came down to the pitch clock. Is these guys are throwing high velocity. When you're talking about guys who were throwing back in the day, 93, 94. And we saw that as like, whoa, that's a velocity. Now these guys are throwing 99, 100 all day long. So when you're not giving them the time to gear up and they're still throwing that high velocity, their arms, that's the reason these guys are going from Tommy John, from Giolito 12, 13 years to now 5, 6 years in between. So as much as it's helping the game as far as viewings and people being tuned in, it's also hurting the game for our superstars, like the Gerrit Coles, like the Manoahs, the Nestor Cortezes, so on and so forth. So MLB has to find some type of fine line before the greatest pitchers of our league become diminished, and this league becomes a pitching staff of triple A's. So something has to be done when it comes to that.
Yeah, and I just want to, and I'll throw it over to NFE and TC and back to you, Damien, to get your take on this. And I know Yankee fans, the panic is setting in because it's Gerrit Cole. This has been our ace ever since we got Gerrit Cole. The only times he's missed starts, I think it was two. He missed 2 starts, and that was because of COVID. Besides that, Gerrit Cole has been our rock. He's been our ace. I do not think the season is over. I think the Yankees dodged the bullet, right? Like the doc said, best case scenario, 1 to 2 months. Him going out there to LA, like the doc said, it was just because that doctor, and the second opinion, he likes to see his patients face to face. And of course, you got the money for a private jet. Go fly privately out there, go see a doctor. But for me, I think the Yankees are in the perfect scenario because if you look at over the past 20 years, when the St. Louis Cardinals, 2010, 2011, I think it was, when Adam Wainwright, he had Tommy John surgery and he was shut down, they won a World Series. When Ronald Acuna, he tore his ACL and he was out with the Braves, they won a World Series, right? So I get it. I understand. As much as every other Yankee fan out there, I want Gerrit Cole to be healthy and be pitching for our team, but I do not think it is over. I do not think this season is over. Even if we were to miss Gerrit Cole for half of a season, I do not think it's over. The Yankees are in a unique spot right now because those 2 injuries that I mentioned, Ronald Acuna and Adam Wainwright, when they happened, you didn't have 2 top starting pitchers available in free agency like you have right now with Blake Snell and Jordan Montgomery. If you didn't want to trade the prospects for Dylan Cease, use your money. This is where you use your money for Jordan Montgomery on a short-term deal, 2 or 3 years. Give him some options. Give him the opt-out so he can go out there and opt out, just like every other Scott Boras client that's signed so far. It's short years with some opt-outs. Now it's where Hal Steinbrenner uses his money. I think when it comes down to Snell and Montgomery, I think it's more, you lean more towards Montgomery because he's not attached to a qualifying offer. You're not losing any draft picks, and he'll be cheaper than Blake Snell. Blake Snell probably get 30 to 35 million AAV. Jordan Montgomery, 20 to 25 million. So he'll be a lot cheaper when it comes to the penalty that you got to pay. NFE, what's your thoughts on that? And then throw it over to TC and then Damien as well. Folks in the chat, appreciate everyone who is in the building. My guy Ness, salute to you. Salute, salute, salute. 3 capital S's. We got over 170 people rocking with us right now. So if you guys can, please smack that like button. If you're watching on Twitter, if you're watching on Facebook, jump on over to YouTube and join the conversation. Go ahead, NFE.
Yeah, I share that optimism with you. I'm not giving up on this team. There's no way I'm giving up on this team. And I said it on my live stream. I don't think Cole is out 1 to 2 months. If I'm honest, I think he's out a little bit longer. But even with that being said, I do think this team is better set up going into this season than they were last season. And Damien brought up a point about the pitch clock and pitchers getting hurt. There seems to be a correlation there because ever since they implemented it, pitchers are getting hurt now, right? It's not just with Cole. I mean, you saw all the names that were listed, right? Jackson Kowar, he's out, right? Giolito, he's out. And, you had a couple of the pitchers from the Baltimore Orioles. They're having some issues too. So the pitch clock, if they are going to keep it, should they make the time a little bit longer for these guys to, not get hurt or feel a little more refreshed before they throw the next pitch? I mean, maybe they need, because what is the pitch clock, like 20 seconds?
They shortened it this year.
Yeah, it's 15. I think it was when there was a runner on base, it was 25. I think they shortened that up to 20. Yeah. But no, when it comes to the pitch clock, I'm right there with you, NFE.
But they need to make that longer. Yeah, shortening it, it's not going to do the pitchers any justice. It's not going to make. It's great to speed up the game because sometimes 4-hour baseball games is a little much. I mean, I'm falling asleep.
No. Yeah, I think most fans agree with you. But you know a way that you could shorten it, right? Not as many commercials, but they won't do that because the commercials give them money. Go ahead.
$. Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely a lot of money there, right? So yeah, of course they're not going to say no to less commercials, but making the pitch clock, 30 seconds, I think that's reasonable, right? Yeah. But this 15 to 20 seconds, that's not enough time. You're adding more stress to your body, and as you guys know, the more stress you add to your body, I mean, the likelier there's a higher chance you're going to get hurt. So
yeah,
you know, the pitch clock, they're definitely, ever since they added that, it's been a major problem right now, and we're seeing that.
And my only gripe when it comes to the pitch clock, and I'll throw it over to TC and Damien as well. I see we got more folks backstage. I bring you guys up momentarily. Chris N, I'm gonna bring up Chris N, and I'm gonna bring up Caputo, Snell, and then Jonathan. I just bring you guys up as you showed up in the queue that's right below. So I bring up Chris, Caputo, Snell, and then Jonathan. TC, I'll throw it over to you real quick to get your take. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, real quick. The pitch clock, it definitely needs to be extended, or just get rid of it altogether, because we're seeing too many guys go down. And as far as Jordan Montgomery, I think, Hector, you nailed it. I think he is probably the best fit for us with all the things you mentioned. It has to be a short deal. I don't see a 6-7 year deal like I guess he's requesting. There's no way that's happening. But it's next man up. The guys have to, the Luke Weavers of the world, Will Warrens, they got to step up and fill in for the 2 months. And I'm with them. NFE. I mentioned it on his show. I don't believe the 2 months. I don't believe in what the Yankees tell us. I think it'll end up being more time, maybe 2 to 3 months or longer. But with our offense, the way they're set up, with our offense, the way it's set up, they're going to have to carry the load. Like last year, the pitching carried the offense. I mean, it's got to be the opposite. I think we're set up to succeed as well. I mean, even though our main guy goes down, we can't give up. Yankee fans, you can't give up on this season. We're all in this year, and hey, we've been the underdogs, the last 5-6 seasons. So hey, it's a good underdog story. Yeah. We're gonna rise to the occasion, and some guys I think are gonna step up and surprise you. Carlos Rodon and Stroman, I think, are going to take the lead, and I'm not counting these guys out, and I'm still looking forward to a great season.
Yeah, because even if the Yankees were to go out there and open up the pocketbooks and sign either Jordan Montgomery or Blake Snell, which March 14th, those guys haven't been pitching in spring training. If the Yankees were to go out right now and sign one of them, they're at least going to miss at minimum the first month of the season. So you got to ask yourself, if you're the New York Yankees, am I willing to pay that luxury tax penalty and pay for these guys' salary when they go to miss 1 month of the season? So that's what you got to ask yourself. And when it comes to the, I see why we have PTSD from the Yankees medical staff and from the Yankees, because my guy Keith McPherson's always says, the Yankees love pissing on us Yankee fans, but calling it rain. That's what the Yankees do to us, right? But I kind of believe that it is 2 months for the simple fact that Gerrit Cole and Dylan Cease, they share the same agent. Yeah. If it was worse than what it is, the negotiation between the Yankees and the White Sox, it would have leaked out that Gerrit Cole has to have a surgery, is going to be out longer than we expect him to be, just because of that agent and the White Sox. That's, to me, if you look at it from that frame, knowing that Gerrit Cole and Dylan Cease have the same agent, and knowing that that agent has inside information on both sides, if he's going to the White Sox and saying, listen, the Yankees want to trade with him, but you need to know Gerrit Cole X, Y, and a third. So make sure you get what you can and try to get a contract extension for Dylan Cease at the same time. So it's inside information that us fans, we don't know. And I know a lot of people are comparing the trade packages, but when you look at Spencer Jones and Drew Thorpe on MLB Top 100, Spencer Jones is 84 and Drew Thorpe is 85. So it's not just the fifth prospect in the San Diego system, because the fifth prospect in the San Diego system could be the number 2 prospect in our system when it comes to the New York Yankees. Damien, I'll throw it over to you. I'm going to bring up Chris N right now. Chris, I'm going to just keep you muted until you're ready to go. Go ahead, Dame.
Man, I think the Yankees need to sail on Snell. They need to go in on Montgomery, somebody who's obviously familiar with the organization, something short term. But I think the depth is key for what the Yankees have done to build, because we look at teams like the Rangers last year, lost their number 1, lost them early. Their fans were going crazy, and lo and behold, they made the moves they needed to make, and they won the chip. So this is not a lost season by any means necessary. For any fans that believe this is a lost season, you guys are crazy. The offense is a completely different offense. I remember there was a time when the Yankees' problem was their pitching, and their offense was their strong suit, and their offense carried them all the way to the ALCSs, so on and so forth. So this is not a lost season by all means. Does it hurt? Absolutely. Do I think Cole's going to be out longer? I do. But this is time for guys like Rodon to step up, which he looked great yesterday. Yeah. I told people, like, listen, you got to give Rodon time because he's on track exactly to what he was doing in San Francisco. His velocity is coming up slowly but surely. You guys want to see his velocity 97, 98, 99. But if he does that early, he's blowing his arm out. And that's not what we want to do. So give him patience. Give that patience. Everybody forget as well, 2022, 21, Nestor Cortez was our ace behind Gerrit Cole's 3.50 ERA. Let's not forget that. Nestor was a sub 2. So, there's guys in there who have proven that they are winners. They have proven they can do it. And all they got to do is go out there and do it at this point. They're healthy. They're saying they're healthy. So let's just go out and show it. Nobody's going to replace Cole. Nobody. We all know that. But there's guys in the room who are there that could be a number one on many other teams. So we're built for it. And I'm not scared of it. I'm ready for the season. And last thing, as far as the pitch clock goes, my only concern is they're going to force teams to go to a 6-man rotation. So that's a big concern for me. Not only obviously putting in AAA players, but more importantly, they're going to have to increase the manpower on the pitching staffs to allow a 6-man rotation if they continue with this pitch clock.
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you, Damien. You made excellent point. I'm gonna throw it over my guy Chris from the Yankees Pod from X Spaces. If you guys don't know who our friend Chris is, make sure you follow him on Twitter. Make sure you follow him on social media. And no, that's not Josh Hart's identical twin. That's my guy Chris. He looks like Josh Hart, but that's not Josh Hart. And also, me and Chris, this season, we're going to be doing some Yankee Spaces, covering the Yankees at late at night, 11 o'clock for a post-game. Chris, go ahead, brother.
What's up, y'all? What's up? All love, fellas. I'm loving most of the takes, and I think NFE made a great point, something that I didn't think about, which is the pitch clock. That 20 seconds isn't enough for a guy who's throwing 100 like Cole to kind of, get his arm back. If you're pitching, you're making 80, 90 pitches a game, or, whatever the case is, you're not giving that time to kind of get the arm, a little bit back. The risk of injury is just going to go up. So I thought that was a great point. I thought maybe 30 seconds is great. It still still keeps the game time at a lower level, but at the same time, you're giving your pitchers, because you're putting them in a position to, again, if you're a hard thrower, like a Cole or some of these guys, your risk of injury is just going to go up. It's just going to go up. I'm sorry. And I think the 6-man rotation may be a thing in the next couple of years. We were talking about that on the Spaces originally. Like, once the Cole news dropped, we should go to a 6-man regardless. I think we should use that. I said this to Heck yesterday. Luis Hill is a starter. Talking to Dane the other day, like, I'm pretty sure most of you guys know Dane. I love Luis Hill prior to the injury. There was a lot of promise with the kid, but he had no control. It seems like he's got that. That Phillies lineup the other day was Phillies lineup. Like, that's their opening day lineup. 3.2 innings with 8 strikeouts versus those guys. Now, they do strike out a lot, but again, like, he could have got shelled, but he didn't. He showed up, he showed control, he showed velocity. Like that, I think Luis Hill can be an X factor. And I was all for C's and, some of these other guys. But if we don't want to have a knee-jerk reaction to this, then you can use a Warren. You could use a Hill, a beater. Let's maybe take a page out of Ray's book and use an opener some of these days. Will we be using our bullpen a little more? Yeah. But this is where that next man up mentality comes in. We need you guys. And like I believe Damien just said a few minutes ago, our pitching picked us up last year. Our hitting's got to do it this year. But at the same time, I'm with you guys. I'm not giving up on this team. Like, Verdugo's a good piece. Grisham is a great bench piece for us. He's starting at most other places. That's our bench guy. You know, I think Glaber's going to have a great year. He's going for a contract. He's going to. Volpe has shown so much promise. Volpe has shown. We getting first half Rizzo from last year. Like, this guy looks like he's first half again, and we, you know, that concussion was something that just doesn't happen in baseball. It just doesn't happen. So the fact that he's healthy, again, Judge, you know, there's some caution there, but Judge, Soto, I mean, guys, like, I have all the faith in the world in this lineup. I think they can carry us to some wins, even if we have those rough starts from our pitchers. I think we're going to average the most runs in Major League Baseball next year. I have that much faith in my boys. So again, I repeat the same sentiments all you guys are saying. I agree with everybody saying right now, because I do think we're going to be okay.
Chris, my guy, always appreciate your take. Before I let you go, I just want to pop this up. Anthony Medina, shout out to Anthony Medina buying us 5 coffees over there at Buy Us a Coffee. Hey guys, great job, and let's have faith that Cole will come back sometime this season and shove. I will not give up on the Yankees season, not one bit. Let's go Yankees. Anthony Medina, mi hermano de la isla. I think all of us share that same sentiment. And like Damian said, no pitcher is going to replace Gerrit Cole. Gerrit Cole is the best pitcher in the world. We understand that. We're not asking the Yankees to sign Blake Snell or Jordan Montgomery or trade for Shane Bieber to replace Gerrit Cole. We're not asking that. We're asking you to bring in one of those pitchers to replace Luke Weaver, to replace Cody Petite. That's what we're asking you to do. We're not asking you to replace Gerrit Cole. We're asking you to replace those guys that I just mentioned. And no shade to those guys. Those guys, major league pitchers, you know, they're more athletic than I am. I'm just a Monday night quarterback. That's what I am right now. But I want the Yankees to go out there and still try to improve this team. Like I said, if you go out there and sign Blake Snell, he's going to miss at least 2 to 3 weeks because he hasn't been in spring training. And the same thing for Jordan Montgomery. So whatever you got to do, just be smart. Don't panic. And don't overpay. I think we could all agree on that. We got 3 more people backstage that I want to bring up. We got over 207 people in the building rocking with us right now. If you guys can, please smack that like button and hit that subscribe button. If you're watching us on X or on Facebook, come join YouTube. Click the link in the bio and join the conversation. Chris, I know it's about to get to 12 o'clock, and I know you got the Yankees pod to do with Jimmy Randanzo. I'm going to just throw it over to you. Let the people know where they can find you and Jimmy when it comes to the spaces that you guys host during the week, Monday through Friday. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, so it's Yankees Pod, at Yankees Pod on X, Twitter, whatever we're calling it nowadays. Yeah, we do it spaces every day, Monday through Friday, sometimes on the weekend, depending how big the game is. Yeah, at 12 o'clock to 1, everybody's more than welcome to come in, give your takes. I'm one of those people, just like Heck. I'm not here to bash your takes. You know what I'm saying? Like, none of us, we all look at things differently. None of us are right. None of us are wrong. It's just the way we see things. So again, yeah, come on over. And after 1, you know, I do a little spaces myself on my own personal page, which is Allentown's Finest. I live out here in PA. So yeah, you know, every Yankee fan is more than welcome to come through and show some love. And I'll give a name before I get out of here: Jack Flaherty. 1-year deal, Detroit. They might not be that good. He's up to 96. You know, I think we can maybe sway them over there. They don't got much going on in Detroit. So if that's a name, I'm fine with it. But have a good one, guys.
Chris, my brother, always appreciate you and your very thoughtful insights when it comes to the Yankees. I'm gonna bring up the next guy to jump up in the conversation, and I'm gonna just let this be known. He was texting me yesterday and sending me voice notes, and I was letting Damian know all the pain that I was going through when he picked me up from the airport, dropping off the rental car. But I got to bring up my guy, Mr. Michael Caputis. Caputis is in the building. How are you feeling, handsome? You good after yesterday with I just want to say, Caputo is very unique. He sends voice notes that are 3 to 4 minutes long. I love you, Caputo. Just know that. Go ahead, bro. Oh, you're muted. Hold on, wait. I'm not sure why you're muted. You got to unmute yourself, Caputo. It says that you're muted. I can't unmute you.
My bad.
There you go.
Yeah,
no, go ahead,
Caputo. I'm not happy. You know why? I'm not happy right
now. All right. Okay. Go ahead, Caputo. Who do you want the Yankees to get now after Dylan Cease's off the market? What's your thoughts? Go ahead, bro.
I guess it's either Blake Snell or even though I said the chances of him not coming here were like bleak. So I guess it's Blake Snell, nothing else, or Shane Bieber. And another note, I just wanted to like bring this up because I have to get it off my chest. Gerrit Cole, I hope he comes back. If it's just 2 months, the Yankees could survive. No problem. But if this guy's out for the entire season, there is no season because he's the best pitcher on the planet. And look, you're saying don't give up on the season. No, I'm not giving up the season if he's out for 2 months, 3 months, whatever. But if he's out for the season, you're not going to convince me that Gerrit Cole, by the way, who's one of the most important players on this team, along with Judge and Cole, that these are the 3 players that are delivering championships, not AA and AAA players, that I'm going to be okay with watching this team and seeing minor league players like carry this team, which isn't going to happen because it didn't help last year when they brought all these prospects up. They missed the playoffs. So I'm not convinced that unexperienced guys are going to come up and make up for that production. No. Yeah, I'm sorry. You're not going to, no hard feelings, but you got to go out and get Blake Snell or get Jordan Montgomery or get Shane Bieber and it's not to replace Gerrit Cole. That guy is the best pitcher on the planet, and he's a first ballot Hall of Fame. And we're in a midlife crisis right now, and these fans are nitpicking prospects and luxury tax at a time like this when Gerrit Cole goes down. You're telling me that we have to save the whole entire farm system. He
rose his voice.
And the luxury tax because for what reason? We're supposed to win in 2024, not 2036. You're still worried about the farm system when Gerrit Cole goes out. Now, if the Yankees lose Judge and Soto for the season, are you going to have the audacity to still say, oh, but we got to keep Spencer Jones, we got to keep Peter, we got to keep Warren, we got to keep Luis Gill? Are you serious? Who's more important?
My man is spitting right now.
Is the farm system more important for this team, or is Aaron Judge, Cole, and Soto important on this team?
I have a question.
We just got one freaking Soto, and they're worried about Spencer Jones, Bieber, Warren, and all these other prospects when we just lost Gerrit Cole. I'm just no hard feelings. I like
no. Listen, Caputo. We all love you. We like your takes and stuff like that. I just got one question to ask you.
We need the passion.
Who was in the World Series last year? What 2 teams was in the World Series last year?
Rangers and the Diamondbacks. But let me tell you something about that. There was clutch hitting. That's what.
Hold on, wait. Let me just finish.
Clutch hitting.
When it comes to the Arizona Diamondbacks, do you know what their average age is?
21, 22, 23. A lot of young kids. We need
24.6. They were able to make it to the World Series with a team that the average age was 24 years old.
Not to mention their star pitcher during that playoff run was a guy who came up and down from AAA 3 times in that one season.
Yeah.
So,
I mentioned about DeGrom. Look, I know you're going to say, oh, well, the Texas Rangers won a World Series without DeGrom. But look, listen, DeGrom was the best pitcher, once upon a time. He's no freaking Gerrit Cole. I'm sorry. I know there was a debate between DeGrom and Cole. It was always that back and forth. 1 and 2, but I'm sorry, he's no Gerrit Cole. Gerrit Cole is better than Jacob DeGrom. I'm sorry.
I don't think any of us are arguing with that take right there, Caputo. I think we all agree with you, right? And I'm with you, right? I do not want the Yankees to punt on this season. Even if Gerrit Cole, knock on wood, is out for the rest of the season, they should go out there and try to replace him with either Blake Snell or Jordan Montgomery. My only issue is right now, Caputo, if the Yankees were to go out there and sign any of those pitchers that I mentioned, Snell or Montgomery, they're going to miss the first month of the season because they haven't been in spring training. So even if the Yankees go out there and spend the money on them, we're going to miss them for at least 4 to 5 starts. They're not going to start. I
know. Well, it's a risk you're willing to take, but, isn't it better than what we have now? I mean, you just lost Gerrit Cole, and we don't know when he's coming back. There's no timetable for his return. I hope to God he's not out for the season, because if he's out for the season, I can't take it. I just
Woosah, Caputo, rub the back of your ears. I'll throw it over to TC and NFE to get your take while Caputo rubs his ears real quick. Go ahead, TC.
I mean, Caputo has good points. I mean, he's just getting stuff off his chest, because we, honestly, the years we've seen what the Yankees do the past years with the injuries and bringing in scrub players and minor league guys. It just they just can't. They don't have the depth to overcome this. But in my point is, I'm glad it happened early. It happened at the beginning of the season. If this happened mid-season, yes, maybe the season is over, because we need Cole for the playoff run. So that could be a positive. We still got to see what the offense can do. If the offense gets rolling, we have a hot start. We get some guys rolling as the 5th starters. we might be okay for the 2 months. But if Cole's out for the year, yeah, we're in big trouble.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I'll throw it over to NFP, and I'm going to bring up Jonathan and Sunil to join the conversation. I'm going to bring you guys up to the open panel. Just stay muted until I throw it over to you guys. Go ahead, NFP. Oh, you're muted, NFP. You're muted, NFP.
Yeah, Caputo, I share your frustration, bro. I do. Okay. Hopefully, to TC's point, Cole is not out for the entire year. If he's out for the entire year, yeah, we might be in a little bit of trouble, no doubt. Hopefully, it's a shorter period of time, but it might be time for the Yankees to call up some of the young guys, right? It's not ideal to do that, but it might be time. And I know you're getting a little frustrated hearing that, but remember, you gotta. Sometimes you may have to give these guys a shot, right? Yankees have had players in the past who were also unproven, and they proved themselves. So this could be that opportunity. Do I think they should still trade for a pitcher? Yeah, I think it'd be good. Who that might be, I don't know. I know you brought up Shane Bieber. He could be a good option. Absolutely. I know guys are talking about Blake Snell, but I would love for the Yankees to sign Blake Snell, but I don't know that it's going to happen. And to Hector's point, even if you did, I mean, it's going to take him time to get a start, right? He's going to miss like 4 or 5 starts, to what Hector was saying. Yeah. But all we could do now is hope that, Cole does come back, right? Because we're gonna need him. And like TC said, at least it happened now than in the middle of the season. Because if it happened in the middle of the season, forget it. Like it might be, it probably be the end. Absolutely, Caputo.
Yeah.
But the thing is, at this, we'll see what the Yankees, how they pivot. But it might have to be the next guy up. It might have to be that. And
I want the man.
Well, look, hey. Yeah, I understand what you want, but it's what the Yankees are going to do at this point. We can have our takes and opinions as far as what we want, but at the end of the day, they're going to do what they're going to have to do. So, we'll just see how it plays out. The offense definitely needs to step up, and the rest of the guys in the rotation. It does begin with Rodon. I think all those guys need to step up and prove their worth.
And not only that, but
they got this. So
I mean, not only that, this is up to Aaron Boone to start earning his dollars and understanding, showing the Yankees of why he should or shouldn't come back. Now, is he going to be the coach of the water boy without the water boy, or is he going to be the coach of the water boy with him? You know what I'm saying? So this is time for Aaron to earn his money, and not only that, to earn his respect and get the locker room in order, because he could lose the locker room at the very beginning of the season. And a big plus to this, guys, is that this is going to teach the team how to win. When you lose your biggest piece, now this is an opportunity for them to learn how to win. And then if you learn how to win without Cole, then what are you going to do with Cole? So this could be a blessing in disguise for guys to really step up and say, yo, we can do this without Cole, and we could win without him. And now when we get him back, then we could win the World Series. So as long as he's gone only that 1 or 2 months, and I pray that that's the case. I'm not as optimistic, but I do pray. I mean, these guys can learn how to win with or without him. So this is time for Aaron Boone to earn his money.
No, I'm definitely right there with you. I'll throw it over to Sunil and Jonathan. Before I throw it over to them, I just want to play this real quick for my guy, Keith McPherson from WFAN. Hopefully this would allow Michael Caputo to realign his circadian rhythm when it comes to his inner peace. So I'm going to play this real quick, and we will be right back.
Welcome, fans. This is a safe space for fans. That's why we call it The Fan. Before you dial 877-337-6666, let me take you through a guided meditation. If you're driving, please do not close your eyes, but envision yourself driving into the future. Better days are ahead. If you can close your eyes, go ahead now. Breathe deeply. Exhale fully. Control your breathing so you can control your thoughts.
Caputo, just know that message was sincerely for you and for you only, and for Yankee fans out there. Thank you, Dr. Keith McPherson. I messaged him yesterday. He was cracking up when I sent him that. There you go,
That was
Snell.
great.
So,
that was great.
I would have thrown it over to Sunil and Jonathan to get their take on the conversation, and then we're going to throw it around one more last time. We're going to have the conversation about Judge and Snell and Montgomery some more. Go ahead, Sunil.
Really quick, guys. I just want to say I gotta go. Hector, I appreciate you. TC, my guy in the feed. Caputo, Sunil, Jonathan, love all you guys. Have a great day. I'll be tuning in, and you guys take care. All right.
Yeah,
drive safe,
Damien.
All right, thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Yeah, Caputo, after Jonathan goes, I'll throw it over to you so you can start the conversation when it comes to the Dylan Cease trade. But go ahead, Sunil.
Yeah.
Well, before I get started, Caputo, you might want to readjust your mic because it's that part of your face hidden. Just wanted to give you a little feedback.
Yeah, just move your face over just a little bit so we can get you in the camera. There you go. It goes.
Yeah, there we go. We got that beautiful circadian rhythm face there going.
Right. Go ahead, Sunil.
So yeah, I like the analogies that were brought up in the chat about in the '96, but I got two more that are part of Yankee history too. 2009, Chen Ming Wang coming back from Liz Frank. We never got to see him. And so there's all this doubt on whether our acquisitions that we basically went out and got that offseason between, the three biggest ones, not counting Nick Swisher, but we're talking about CC, AJ, and Teixeira. Teixeira on offense, the other two on pitching. CC was an absolute bulldog, and that's the analogy I'm drawing to for 2024 is we need a Rodon to be like CC, basically, and Stroman can basically reprise his version of being the AJ Burnett. Hopefully he doesn't last just 2 seasons and, shit the bed in season 2, but, that's a different conversation. Point being that the concern here around Rodon is, of course, the clean bill of health, number one. Second thing, he's never had a season where he's won more than 14 games. I've just looked up his career stats while we're on the stream, and I looked up season by season. He has at most won 14 games. That was his lone season with the San Francisco Giants. That's the year that we were looking at in 22, that when he was the Bulldog. If he's supposed to be our number one, now, before I go on to the number one talk, I accept the fact that a lot of those starts that he may have made could have been no decisions because of the way that San Francisco team was. Fair enough. That's a fair assessment to make. And of course, with this offense that we have with the Yankees, we should see a lot more of his starts turn into wins, more so than no decisions. So we're expecting an uptick in his numbers right from that attribute in and of itself. Thing is, can his health, with him slimmed down, can it support that? And number two, we got another bill of health situation with Stroman having had hip injury histories in his past. So can he be, sustainable enough to reprise the AJ Burnett we need to make the 2009 analogy work here?
Well, when you look at oh, my fault. I'm sorry, Sunil. Go ahead. I thought you was done. My apologies.
Yeah, I'm gonna land it with the second analogy being 2019's Luis Severino. We had Domingo Germán basically come in and carry the load and win 19 games. Only difference is he had an ERA higher than 4.
Yeah.
So these are the kind of challenges you're going to be up against, and hopefully this time, unlike with the 3-month Rizzo concussion misdiagnosis from last year, this medical training staff can redeem itself.
Yeah. And I just want to mention something real quick, just because I turned my camera off, just because I'm getting like notifications on Instagram. So John Boy had put something out about like the Yankees, should the Yankees do something? And a lot of Yankee fans in the chat was talking about Trevor Bauer. And you guys know my opinion. I just bring up the fact that he still has 2 pending cases that are still out there, right? And the comment section, people coming after me and saying this, that, and the third, it was crazy. All I was doing was just pointing out the fact he has 2 cases that are pending. But when you look at the Trevor Bauer situation, and this is my only gripe with the Trevor Bauer situation, you got 30 teams in Major League Baseball. Each owner, they have different political beliefs. The Texas Ranger is the only club in Major League Baseball that they do not celebrate Pride Night in Major League Baseball, and a lot of people want to point that out. So I just ask you guys, why hasn't any team touched them? You got 30 owners in Major League Baseball. Each one of those owners have different political beliefs. Why hasn't any of those teams touched them? They must know something that we don't have access to because we're just in the public. So that's the only question that I have to ask people. Why don't you think any other team has touched them? Like I said, 30 different owners. Each one of those owners have different political beliefs. They donate to different political parties and everything like that. Why hasn't any team touched them? Can somebody tell me that?
If I were to make a guess, there is something that they know that's not publicized, and if someone signs him, that information will be public and they will get scrutinized.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be a
that's one guess of mine.
That something must be out there that we don't know.
There has to be more information that's being public.
That's the only thing that I have to mention on that. Go ahead, Jonathan. I'll throw it over to you to get your take on the conversation we've been having with the doctor.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like it's mostly good news if it's just 2 months. What I would do in the 2 months, I would use the minor league system. I would know exactly what we have in the minor leagues. The Yankees have spent the last 10 years building up their farm system. Use the pitchers you have in the minor leagues, and maybe one of them will have an Aaron Small type season. I don't know. What happens if you have Will Warren come up, win 10 games in a row like Aaron Small did? Will any of you be arguing with that? If that happens?
No, I know I'm not.
So we should use what we have. The Yankees should not push the panic button like Caputo says and trade everybody to everybody's team, hoping that what we get will replace Gerrit Cole. You cannot replace Gerrit Cole. So we have to hopefully call up Will Warren, have him work with Gerrit Cole just like he did with Schmidt, and maybe he can win 15 games.
Yeah. Yeah. And I just want to point something out. Acevedo said he went after Manfred. Just so you know, Manfred, he works for the owners. The owners don't work for Manfred. So if the owners in Major League Baseball want to sign somebody, they could go out there and sign somebody. The owners in baseball, they don't work for the commissioner. It's the other way around. The commissioner works for the owners, right? That's all I just wanted to point out when it comes to that. I'll throw it over because I know NFE, you still rocking out with us right now, and I'm not sure, I want to respect your time. So I'll throw it over to you, NFE, to lead the conversation when it comes down to Judge and the injury concerns, right? Because now we got to, they put Judge in his big body, 6'7", through the MRI machine. Apparently he's going to play on Saturday. But again, PTSD, because the Yankees medical staff and the Yankees front office seems like they just don't keep it 100%. After they took Aaron Judge out, Boone came out and said, we were expecting to take Judge out after 2 innings, so it was just precaution. And I call BS on that. What's your thoughts, NFE?
Yeah, I didn't believe it. I mean, you pulled the guy out after 2 at-bats, and you're going to tell me that you had planned that? I'm not buying it. I had a feeling something was up, but at least there's no structural damage. At least that's not, that hasn't been reported. So let's just hope that report is true. We don't, I hope with this medical staff, because that was something I talked about earlier, was the medical staff was an absolute nightmare last year. Absolute nightmare. The way they handled certain things, I couldn't believe it. I just hope that they don't repeat these same mistakes again and lie to us fans.
Yeah.
I hate to bring up I hate to keep bringing up the Rizzo situation, but that was a prime example. He was playing well. He collided with Tatis's hip. Then he just started playing bad. We knew something was up with Rizzo. The team was saying nothing was wrong with him, right? And I'm like, no, clearly there is something wrong with him. And you let the guy play for 2 months with a concussion. That is bad. That is detrimental that could be very detrimental to a player's career. And it could have ended very badly too. I mean, it could have been the end of his career for all we know, if they kept it going. But with Aaron Judge's injury, yeah, he is penciled in for Saturday's game, so that's good to hear. Whether or not he'll play, that's another question. If he does have some sort of damage on his abdominal area, hopefully he doesn't risk it. I mean, I'd rather him get rest than play out, because we need him for the season, right? We need him for the season, so we need him for the opener. We can't risk losing him too. If that happens, then oh boy, that's all I'm going to say to that. So
yeah. No, listen, and I got a little bit off track just because the Instagram messages, it just bothered me like crazy. But Caputo, I know I want to, lead the conversation. We're going to rock out to about like 12:30. But just finish the conversation when it comes to Dylan Cease. And when you look at the trade and the prospects that were given up, first of all, what is San Diego doing? They traded away Juan Soto. They're trying to cut salary. Now they're trading their top prospects for Dylan Cease. I just do not get what's going on in San Diego. If you're a Padres fan right now, you got to be super frustrated. The thought of having Dylan Cease, Musgrove, and Yu Darvish, that seems like a solid rotation, and with Michael King on top of it, but it just doesn't make sense. If that's the case, why do you even trade Juan Soto to begin with if you were going to go out there and trade your prospects for a guy like Dylan Cease? Go ahead, Caputo. I'll let you start it, and then throw it over to TC, NFE, Sunil, and then Jonathan. Go ahead.
Yeah, I would have made that trade. First of all, I heard that Spencer Jones wasn't even included in the package anymore. They wanted their 3 pitching prospects. So, yeah, I would have done it. And you're not bringing anybody in here to replace Gerrit Cole. You're just bringing somebody in here for now to fill the void until Cole comes back. And, they needed another starting pitcher regardless, even whether Cole was injured or not. They still need one more starting pitcher in here. So you had to make that move. So I would have done it. And if you weren't including Spencer Jones and it was just those 3 pitching prospects, well, I don't know why the Yankees why didn't pull the trigger on that. And then the Padres apparently like the White Sox package where they like their offer more. So, I mean, I know you don't like Dylan Cease that much, Hector. We were talking about that yesterday.
Yeah,
think he's like a number 3, but I think he's like a number 2 starter. He could have definitely helped this rotation for 2 months until Cole comes back, and I think they would have been just fine. But now you got to go with pitchers that are going to like come up that have no major league experience, and they're going to get rocked. How did it go last season when they brought up Johnny Brito and Randy Velasquez? How did that work out?
Well, Randy Vasquez, he showed enough to be included in that trade for Juan Soto, so I thought he was solid last year.
Yeah,
you don't think that was you don't think he was good enough to be included in the package for Juan Soto?
Nah, he was meh. I mean, he wasn't.
But was he included in the package for Juan Soto?
Yeah, but I mean, I have
if
to
the
see.
If the Yankees didn't bring him up last year and he never got a taste of major league experience, you think the Padres would have wanted to trade for him?
Most likely not, but they're not Cy Young pitchers. They're not like.
I never said they were, but we were able to use him to get an MVP caliber player in Juan Soto.
Oh, the Padres. I don't know like what it is with the Yankees farm system lately, but it seems like teams like their prospects, but they don't have a farm system like the Dodgers, Braves, Astros, or Rays. Not even close. Not even close.
The Yankees have a better farm system than the Astros right now.
Not the Dodgers, not the Braves, not the Rays, Tampa Bay Rays.
We are when you look at Baseball America, we're right there with the Dodgers when it comes to prospects. The Yankees outside of the Baltimore Orioles, you could disagree with me all you want, but you cannot disagree with facts. The Yankees outside of the Baltimore Orioles have set 6 top 100 prospects. We're the only other team besides the Baltimore Orioles that have that. You don't think that's valuable?
I like the Orioles farm system too. But all these teams could have great farm systems, and guess what? They're not going to win dick because none of these teams won a championship with their farm system plays. The Dodgers never did. The Braves never did. The Astros and the Rays. So I don't know what
the Braves won a World Series with their farm system. The Texas Rangers won a World Series with their farm system last year. But the players that contributed to them championship was from their farm system.
True, but you have to have a blend of both. You can't have all rookies either. You got to have like veterans. You got to have.
I go to ask you a question, and I'll throw it over to TC to get his take on Dylan Cease. Their best, one of their best power hitters last year in the postseason, Garcia. Where did he come from?
Their farm system.
Go ahead, TC.
Nope.
Yeah, so as far as Cease goes, I think he was they paid too high of a price for him, and I wouldn't have done a 6-player swap for Dylan Cease. I think we have enough in our farm system and what we have on the roster right now to absorb this Cole. If it is 2 months, if it's a season. We have to get a Snell. We have to get a top of the line starter, Snell, Montgomery, somebody like that. But if it's 2 months, having Luis Hill or Luke Weaver, sub in and out, Will Warren, it's we can take that for the first 2 months. I would personally go and look at the free agent market and pick up one of these guys just for in case, like an Odorizzi or a Colin McHugh or even a Zach Greinke or something, a short-term, $1 million low price deal, because we're going to need it. I mean, you're going to burn out the bullpen. These guys aren't going to, these guys like Luke Weaver, they're not Gerrit Cole. So they're going to go 4, 5, maybe, so the bullpen's going to get overworked. So we need reinforcements, and that's where I would go. I definitely look at the free agent market and pull one of these guys in. It doesn't need to be Montgomery. It doesn't need to be Snell. It doesn't even need to be a big trade like a Bieber or we passed on Cease. I think we'll be okay. The judge injury concerns me. If he goes down too, we're in big trouble. That's just huge trouble, and I don't trust the doctors, and so let's just cross our fingers that we can just absorb this for the first 2 months of the season. We stay above 500, stay within the Orioles and the Blue Jays, and don't let it get out of hand. If we're 10, 15 games out by the time Cole comes back, that's not good.
I have a question for you, TC. If you're on the phone,
I just want to say 1 second, Jonathan. I want to say shout out to DJ Still that's in the building. My guy Acevedo's still rocking with us. Louis is in the building. Big time Jerry's in the building. Tim, King of the Jordans, is in the building. My guy Anthony Medina, mi hermano de la isla. 19 Carmen is in the building. Anthony Garcia, how you doing? Crackle Nuts, I see you in the building. Stephen B, sorry about that. I just realized I didn't do a roll call. Shout out to one of the finest communities that are out there in the Yankees chat. Appreciate all of you guys for stepping up. Go ahead, Jonathan. And after Jonathan goes, we got a video to play real quick before we get out of here. This is from our event that we did at Blarney Stones with our guy Tony from Nick's Twitter. It was an amazing event, so we just got the footage. Phil just put it out today, so I want to play that before we get out of here. So go ahead, Jonathan, so I can play that, and then we wrap things up. Go ahead.
This is for TC. If you are on the phone with Montgomery, what did you offer to him today?
Right now,
you have Monty's phone number. After you get done with this call, you call him. What did you offer to him?
2 years, $40 million.
2 years, $40 million.
3 years, $75 million, and opt out after each season. That's what I'm offering Jordan Montgomery. What about you, NFE? Unmute yourself, NFE. There you go.
I got you. Shoot. That's a tough one.
Hector, I got one.
3 years. 3 years, 75. I mean, at the most, I'll go 4.
25 a year. 25, 4 for 100 with an opt out after each one. I'll take that too. NFE.
I wouldn't give him any more. I wouldn't give him more than 25. No way.
Sunil, the wide sage of the Yankees community, aka Baby Yoda in full effect. What's your thoughts, Sunil?
Yeah, exactly. Baby Yoda without hair, but anyway.
It's such a dig, Sunil. Go ahead.
3 for 75, opt out after year 2.
Okay. I'll take that. Listen, I'll take that. I think most Yankee fans would take that. Jordan Montgomery, just come on home. I know you may be upset with Brian Cashman, and Brian Cashman, you may have hurt people's fee-fees, but if you was able to make up with Marcus Stroman, there should be no way that Jordan Montgomery and Brian Cashman can't sit down and have a conversation. Well, go ahead, Sunil, before I play this video.
Yeah, so haven't I said this repetitively again? Stop me if you've heard this, but isn't Andy Pettitte still Jordan Montgomery's, silent whisperer? Shouldn't he get in the middle of these conversations and basically bring some sort of a reconciliation?
Listen, if I have to pull out the Ouija board and get George Steinbrenner into the room and have a conversation, I'm doing that. I'm pulling out all the stops in order to get Jordan Montgomery in the Bronx. But I'm gonna play this clip real quick. I'm gonna play this video again. This is from our event at Blarney Stones. We're gonna be doing a lot of IRL events this season when it comes to the Yankees. So just be prepared. This is the first one, so you guys can see.
Yeah. Ow! Yeah. Y'all think too small, I got big dreams. You just starting, I'm way ahead at the end scenes. Started reading and dodging all of the quick schemes. Money like your Spotify, boy, I got 10 streams. And I'm still looking for more. My people, they got a soul, I'm putting that on the Lord. Ain't accepting, ignore, just kicking down all the doors. Guarantee you, boy, if I ask for it, it's gotta be real big. I gotta make it just for my kids and for their kids' kids. That's wealth years and years. Promise my brother soon as he out to finish this bid, we finna do it bigger than anybody ever did. The odds is real big, job that's real big. Satan trying a little, my God is real big. Stayed up on the ground and the cards is real big. I gotta do it big, the only way that I can live. And I promise I'm trying to. Before you count me out, homie, let me remind you. They was blocking the shine, now I think it's my time to. Counting them dollar signs like lights, they'll blind you. Let me rewind to. Back when I was broken, I couldn't acquire 2 cents. And now I got 2 wrists. They was sleeping on me, homie, must have got too big. Call my phone, I be like, who this? Damn right, hell yeah, I'm brand new. Smell like can too. I'm fresh forever like canned food. Try and tell me what I can't do. I wanna see the world, my vision on Shamu. That mean I got goals that's real big, foes that's real big. Your offer too little, sorry, my soul is real big. Coming into the ring with blows that's real big. I gotta do it big, that's the only way I can live. I gotta do it big. I gotta do it big. I gotta do it big. Gotta do it big, that's the only way to live. Gotta do it big. I gotta do it big. I gotta do it big. Gotta do it big. That's the only way to live. Come on.
Let's go, I just gotta say, shout out to my guy Phil for shooting that, for editing that. Shout out to Tony from Nick's Twitter for putting that all together. Just so everybody know, Tony on Nick's Twitter, there was a lot of people in that video that didn't like each other from Nick's Twitter. He was able to get everybody together and we was all in a room having a good time. That's something that I want to do with the Yankees this season. I know there's a lot of people that when it comes to their takes online, a lot of people aren't fans of people, but I want to get everybody into the same room because I feel like Tony feels if you see people face to face, it'll be a different conversation. Just like here when it's the open panel. I may not agree with everybody's take, but everybody's still allowed to have their take. I welcome the conversation. I welcome all of you guys for joining me every day when it comes to having these conversations. For this season, we're going to do a lot of good stuff. I know you guys saw earlier NFE came up and Damian came up. We're starting something new here that we're going to have like not an inner circle. I'm going to say like a round table that we'll start the show with, and then we'll have the open panel so everybody else could join. So you'll see more of NFE. You'll see more of Damian Serrano, Richie Rivera. Of course, TC Stills is my co-host. He ain't going anywhere. And of course, the fellas that are always there for the open panels, Michael Caputo, Jonathan, Sunil, L.I. Yankee King. Appreciate all of you guys Uncle Tats as well, everybody that's in the building. We're about to wrap up right now. I want to throw the NFE real quick so he could just let people know when he goes live so you guys can support him. I know there's a lot of you guys that already do and already subscribe to NFE, but for those of you that aren't NFE, let them know where they can find you, brother.
Yeah, I go live on YouTube Tuesdays and Thursdays, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I usually have Mazza from Forge Train Express who joins me. Today he had to work, but it's all good. You know, I still rock the show by myself. But Mazza's been joining me, so you know, Mazza and I we got a good thing going, kind of like you and TC, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you know, Tuesdays and Thursdays, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I could drop the link into the chat for my channel. If y'all want to subscribe, I would greatly appreciate it. And then sometimes I'll, you know, I may surprise everybody. I might go live on a weekend, maybe on a Saturday, maybe on a Sunday. I don't announce it, but if I do, you know, Hector, I'll definitely let you know.
Definitely let me know. I'll be there.
So, but Tuesdays and Thursdays for sure. So 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So yeah, if you all could jump on and join me, because I love hearing everybody's takes, and you know, I always like to have good conversation and want to keep at least on my channel. I know on all channels, but on my channel, I just want to keep it, you know, peaceful, positive. Again, even if it's you know, negative comments, hey, bring it on. But you know,
exactly. As long as everybody is respectful, we can have the conversation. For this season coming up, Monday through Friday, we're gonna do a Yankees pregame show from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. That's something we'll be doing on this channel as well. If any of you guys out there, if you guys are into sports betting when it comes to FanDuel or DraftKings, anything like that, reach out to me. I'm willing to have segments when it comes to that. I'm not an expert when it comes to the online sports betting, so I don't try to tap into that because I'm not an expert in that. But you guys know we like to highlight our community. So if there's anybody in the community that you guys are into that, come up. We can highlight you. If you want to do something every day for the pregame show, come up. You know how I get down. I highlight everybody that's in the chat. I don't care if you have 1 subscriber. I don't care if you have 30 or 50,000 subscribers. As long as you're cool with me and we have great conversations, I'm willing to highlight whoever that's out there. So if there's anyone in our community, or if you know anybody that's outside of the community, let them know. You can hit me up on any social media, whether that's Twitter, whether that's Instagram, or you can email us, MediaTeam@MorningBrewSports. I'm going to type it and I'm going to put it in the chat. Like I said, MediaTeam@MorningBrewSports@gmail.com. Shoot us an email and let's get things popping. But again, appreciate all of you fellas. I'm going to let you guys go. Caputo, Jonathan, Sunil, NFE. I'm going to bring you guys down, and me and TC will wrap things up. Definitely appreciate you guys. Hold on 1 second. Let me fix this real quick. Hold on 1 second. Oh, we have people. Okay, there we go. Back to me and TC. TC, I'm going to throw it over to you, my guy. What's your last words before we dip up out of here?
Well, keep your heads up, Yankee fans. It's not over yet. Crackle Nuts. Yeah, come on.
Crackle Nuts a clown. I love
he's a crazy guy. No, it's not over yet. You know, let's just, you know, let's settle down. We'll see how it goes. We'll see who we, you know, bring in as the 5th starter. You know, it could be the Scranton shuttle, you know, the guys back and forth. But I'm looking forward to the offense, you know, taking control this year and picking us up. And I just want to thank all the guys, you know, NFE, Sunil, Jonathan, Caputo, Damian, you know, Dr. Jesse, all the guys for, you know, always rocking with us on the open panel. Great takes, good show as always, Hector. And you know, we appreciate you, you know, giving us that opportunity, open panel, you know, to of course express our opinions. You know, it's just, and Jigga as well, backstage, you know, being crazy as well. There he is,
the top producer out there in the community, the number one producer, the number one gun is my brother, Mr. Jigga Man Porto.
Shout out to Jigga, man. He's working 24/7. The guy never sleeps, and you know, putting out good content like this. I mean, it's just it's not easy. It's hard work, and you know, we're going places. So stick with us, Morning Brew. I'm not going nowhere. You know. So keep our head up. Keep the heads up, guys.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And on that note, Like my guy Old Sarge just said in the chat, what's with all the doom and gloom? Ain't no doom and gloom over here, Old Sarge. Appreciate you being in the building. Like always, guys, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. Make sure you drink your water, say something nice to your neighbor, and until next time, deuces.